What does one say to an ancient Nephilim ghost?
I suppose you start with...
Pull my finger.
Hello, my friend. Stay a while and listen.
What's going on YouTube? It's Filthy and we're back with another video. Season 28 Diablo 3 Necromancer Starter Guide. Season is going to be the Rites of Sanctuary. We have the final patch notes now. I've prepped this video first out the starter guides because I thought this was the least likely to be affected by said updated patch notes, and that was, of course, correct. Lucky me. So what are we going to do today? We're going to take you from level 1 to end game. So this is with a full altar unlock, which is basically the season theme completely. All the powers done. Or if you want to think of it another way, from 0 to hero, beta soy boy to alpha giga chad. Now, this is maybe going to be a little bit of a dry video. I'm going to put some gameplay footage in it, hopefully. If the opportunity presents itself, we will put some memes or clips or whatever just to kind of spice it up a little bit. But in general, welcome to anybody who's new. There will of course be timestamps so you can jump around this video just to make it a bit easier. It's probably going to be a long one. I always link this document in the video, so if you want to make a copy of it, you can. If you want to annotate it, change it, whatever, absolutely you can do. And we'll put some video links in the description, so the guides that we've made on PTR for Necro, and I'll try and get the D3 planner links done as well for the builds. And as always guys, likes brighten my day. These videos take an absolute boatload of time to make, so if you like them, do thumbs up, because obviously it shows me that I'm on the right track, the content and for the prep. So Necromancer, the starting set you're going to get, which is generally one of the most important things about starting a fresh new season in Diablo 3, is going to be the Masquerade or the Bone Spear set. On PTR we were completely crushing 110 speeds with this in like 2-3 minutes. Obviously nice gear, a little bit of Paragon behind us, but the point I'm getting at is definitely a really S tier build for farming. Not the most powerful in the game, definitely not, but it is a very nice build to play. Of course it completely smashes Torment 16, really melts through that with no problem. Unlocking the full altar is going to be super easy.
Barely an inconvenience.
Well, I say barely an inconvenience. Of course the amulet is going to be the sticking point here. There's an amulet, Haunted Visions, it makes the build. It's not super easy to get, and that is definitely a bit of an inconvenience. Once you get over that one little hurdle, the rest of it absolutely flies through everything. So what is new for Season 28 in Diablo 3? Well, for leveling, an absolute crap ton of stuff. So the Altar of Rites, which is the new season mechanic, has got some specific leveling abilities that will alter things. So we get double kill streaks and double bonus, so that means the kill streaks last twice as long as you're chaining stuff together, and also you're going to get double XP. When you get an XP boost, it's going to be doubled, so massacre bonusing is going to be impacted. Also, we have potentially items have no level requirement, so you can therefore equip a load of level 70 items on a level 1 character, which of course will make leveling super fast. Stick it on T6, you'll be there no time flat. And also we have the potential for pools of reflection being permanent, so they stay after death and never run out. You can't have all three of these things, which we will get onto. So this is what the altar is going to look like. This is a Reddit post. Obviously with the final patch notes, a couple of things on here changed. Nothing for leveling really, but I expect most people are going to go here. This is the first node, double kill streaks. You only need 10 reusable parts. You can steal your followers' stuff, salvage it, and then you'll have node 1 unlocked, double kill streaks, duration, XP, all that good stuff. And then most people are going to go down here for no level requirement. Again, we'll talk about this a little bit, but that's kind of what the altar looks like. And this is all the glorious things that you can unlock. And over here, we've got the costs on the left-hand side. That is linked in the description if you want to have a little play around with unlocking the altar, like a kind of simulation basis. Early on though, we know we can do 1, so node 1 double kill streaks, no problemo. Number 2, a flawless diamond or greater, 15 arcane dust and another 20 reusable parts. Very accessible when you are leveling to do this. What you can't do whilst you're leveling is get a Greater Rift Tree. They are capped until you reach 70 and then complete a Rift to get one, and 10 DBs. So you're pretty much doing a toss-up here between perma XP pools and no item level requirement. Obviously, if you can make level 70 items, this is vastly superior, because T6 the whole way, you'll be at level 70 in no time. But the XP pools, I think, offer about 25%. When you get into Greater Rifts later, they add more, but for leveling purposes, it's probably going to be about 25%. But this is the hard cap here, the 1 Challenge Rift cache. Normally speaking, in a season, you use your Challenge Rift cache to level. You would also need to use it to make level 70 items. So you kind of are getting to that kind of like sticking point. That's going to be it. Everything before 15 is totally unlockable without using the Challenge Rift cache. But you're going to have to not use it for leveling to pump it into the altar, because you only get one of those at the start of the season. So that, of course, brings us on to the big question, which is, should you use your Challenge Rift bag for leveling, or should you save it to unlock level 15 and beyond of the altar? We've got 2 pretty big content creators in Diablo 3 space. Rax says use it because he thinks leveling to 70 super fast is very valuable, and the bag contains a lot of power. You're not missing out on much by saving it. Udiju, on the other hand, he takes the opposite approach. He says you should save it because otherwise people will be blasting past you on the leaderboards. I'm going to save mine, but it doesn't mean that it's going to be right for you to save it as well. So if you do use it for the leveling purposes, once you get to level 18, you can craft a flawless diamond. You do this by basically beating a boss bounty. So someone like Magda or Zoltan Cool, they will drop either, I can't remember the name, it's either perfect diamonds or just diamonds. You take them to the jeweler and you combine them to make one flawless diamond. So from level 18, you can have the second node on the altar unlocked, which then means you can make level 70 items with no requirement. You will be at 70 in about 30 minutes because you will stick the game on Torment 6 and you will melt everything because you will have essentially God tier gear.
Great success.
If you do use the Challenge Rift bag, you'll get your multipliers as normal from Blood Shards, so Corpse Explosion Gloves. You can also upgrade a legendary as normal and get the power. You can also, because it's level 70 and you can use it, you can just use a legendary two-handed scythe, which again obviously would completely crush stuff as you level. But you will get stuck at level 15 on the altar until the CR resets. One thing to bear in mind, Challenge Rifts are normally quite easy to do, but every so often we do get one that is totally toxic, so there is a potential downside that you might be waiting a couple of weeks until you can beat the Challenge Rift. Unlikely, but do consider it. So if we were going to use the CR bag to level, obviously we get stuck here at number 15, but we can do all these other nodes. So this is a kind of example as to what you would get. I'm not saying this is the only way to do it, but this is probably what I would be looking at. So kill streaks, no item level requirement, picking up some move speed to help us out complete the other stuff, shielding from the health globes, elite damage, double bounties, very important because we need bounty mats to unlock some of these bits and bobs, and we need more bounty mats later to do that. CC immunity for a Necromancer, very important because we don't have it. We also need to unlock all 3 of these nodes here, because we need to be getting one of these nodes at the bottom to get all of the potion powers. But in general, my thoughts for a Necromancer is to make my way down here to double legendaries at Kadala, because we want to set up our Bone Spear build as soon as possible, and we can actually do that faster by getting double legendary items at Kadala. We're then picking up basically one of these other nodes at the bottom so we can unlock the potion powers. Now the power potion here, number 1, has been changed in the patch notes. We don't get super powerful conduit pylons anymore, but we do get a power pylon. So that is kind of good. There is a necro skill as well that you can take that will allow you to refresh your potion. So that's something probably a bit more for pushing, but I don't think I've actually written that in the slides. That again is something to consider. But basically, if you want to save your Challenge Rift then obviously you can unlock the further nodes. But if you want to use it for leveling, this is kind of where you're going to cap out until you do another challenge rift. If you do save it, you can still do that level 18 and craft the flawless diamond to get the second node unlock. You will have extra kill streak bonus for massacre bonus leveling, so on the Necro that is going to be strong. Just beware if you're on console though, the kill streak bonus I think only applies on normal difficulty. So as you move up to higher difficulties, the extra XP bonus you get doesn't actually scale with the difficulty. This is not something I've tested myself. I haven't played console for about 2 or 3 years now. But you need to bear in mind that rifting is probably just your straight best bet on console if you're not going to use the challenge rift bag. If you are going to use the challenge rift bag for leveling on console, Torment 6, it won't make much of a difference. What you can do is, instead of taking the level 70 item requirement reduction, you can go and grab the pools of reflection node, and that will give you another XP bump. So you'd be doing massacre bonus leveling, but you've got this increased kill streak bonus, and you've also got pool of reflection, so long as you can find one. That will shave quite a bit off your time to 70. Nowhere near as fast as using the challenge rift cache, but at least you will save it. Obviously RNG is going to come into this because you're not going to have corpse explosion gloves, you're not going to have a modifier for your cube, but just the general corpse explosion is still pretty powerful, so it's not going to be the worst time in the world for the Necro. So this is maybe a bit more of a path that you would take if you want to not use your challenge rift bag for leveling and save it to unlock the altar as soon as possible. So probably double kill streaks, of course, number 1, then the XP pool, and then 200 damage is actually pretty big of a deal.
I'm kind of a big deal.
Early on, obviously, the smaller your damage, the bigger this plus 200 is, but that'll make a big chunk once you get to 70 and get a greater rift key. And then obviously we would then potentially go down the path as normal. You would be sacrificing move speed if you're going this way, because you cannot move back up the altar. You would have to come down here. Move speed, I know a lot of people like it. It is impactful to get 25% move speed on node 3, but obviously the further you get into unlocking all of these things, the less the plus 25% move speed impacts. The more move speed you have in your build, the less this is impactful. But that's a toss-up. Extra damage, 25% move speed. You're also getting the XP pool, so that's something to think about. Right, how long will it take you to max out the altar? So obviously this becomes relevant for should you use your challenge rift bag for leveling or saving it. And my estimate is it's about 24 hours worth of game time to get all the things done on the altar, but this is going to be pretty RNG heavy. We've got to make a staff of herding. That's a pain in the arse. That could take you a while. We could be relying on ancient drops, hellfire. We've got to make an ancient hellfire, ancient puzzle ring. Primal crafting recipe in the cube though is something that we'll cover, which is new, so you might be able to just upgrade your hellfire amulet to primal. You should be able to upgrade your primal puzzle ring to primal, and that might well be able to feed into the altar. Again, I didn't test that on PTR, but that could be a little bit of a hack. Maybe 8 or 9 hours into the game you'll have the level 15 altar. So basically the question is do you think you're going to play kind of 24 hours worth of game time or 8 or 9 hours of game time? If it's between the two, you probably may as well use your challenge rift bag for leveling. And then if you think, well, I know I'm going to play like 30 hours across opening weekend, then I will go for saving the challenge rift bag. This is just an estimate. It could be much longer. It's hard to tell how long it's going to take for all these things to get done. And as we say, RNG is going to play a role. So should you save? Should you use? Look, most important thing here is having fun. It's the whole point of playing this game. It's the whole point of the season resetting. Having fun. If slow leveling annoys you, use your challenge rift bag. You can still pre-farm all the requirements for unlocking the rest of it when the challenge rift rolls round. Fingers crossed it's a nice easy peasy one and you can blast it out. But if you want to be as strong as possible, as fast as possible, you're going to play loads early on, then I would save it. 90% of players probably should use it because it's only really going to be super hardcore blasters who are going to want to get as far as they can. Obviously, if you're grouping, maybe one or two of you could use the challenge rift bag and one or two couldn't. That's something to consider. Is if you've got an alt account, you can craft level 70 items, yellows, pass them over. So there are other tricks you can do, but generally speaking, most people, you just want to use it, get to 70 and get cracking and have a load of fun on opening night instead of spending a bit of time getting up to 70. Right, so what else is new for Season 28 in the patch? Well, the altar gives some pretty nutty bonuses. A few highlights: double bounties, always great. We need these early in seasons. Great for reforging, great for just doing general stuff. Double DBs is always nice, again, with a view to getting these early builds up and going. Really interesting, double legendaries at Kadar, as we mentioned briefly. That's going to make setting up your builds so much easier. It's going to make setting up alt characters so much easier. And once you get everything unlocked on the altar, you're going to get double primals. I love double primals. I love primals. So this definitely has me interested. I'm going to try and find as many as I can. All in all, it looks like we've got about 5 tiers of GR power just from the altars and the potions. So any build you want to play on a Necromancer, it's going to be a lot more powerful. And we've got some really nice quality of life. So auto pickup and salvage. So you can get auto pickup of DBs, 60-yard pickup radius for globes. You can also get the pets picking up yellow and blue items and salvaging them for you. So it's going to be pretty nice. In terms of necro-specific stuff, Bone Spear's got a massive buff this patch, which is why we can now crush 110s for speeds. We also have the ability to craft our own primal item. We can only use one, so we can craft as many primal items as we want, but we can only use one. When we salvage primals, we also get Primordial Ash, and that is used in some of the altar unlocks, some of the potion unlocks. The perma XP buff via pools, once you unlock it, it's going to be pretty big. You'll probably get the most Paragon you've ever had in a season. And also Nova Necro. The build itself hasn't changed, but it does benefit a lot, particularly from the boss damage. So it's probably going to be an S tier build. And Solo 150 looks like it's going to be pretty achievable, even for casual play. You know, maybe 1,000, 1,200 Paragon. Nice gear augments. Again, we'll have to see when we get on the season, but I know with DJ is definitely the view that it's going to be a very accessible route to a Solo 150. Important dates: the season is going to start on the 24th of February, so that is in a few days' time. Do not do your challenge drift when it resets. That says 20th of August. That should say 20th of February, obviously.
What are you?
An idiot sandwich.
I'll get that changed after we've done this. Otherwise, you're going to be big sad because you're not going to have your challenge rift bag for leveling or for unlocking the altar. So don't do it. Right, the first steps once your season is live: create or rebirth a character, log in to the season so the game knows your character is there, beat the challenge rift. Rax and Wadiju both make guides on it. Don't forget to put a pet on because it's going to help you out. I like to put on some cosmetics. I always forget these two, but yeah, get them done. In terms of the challenge rift bag, so let's assume you're going to spend it for leveling. Normally speaking, you use the materials for re-rolling the level requirements on the weapon. We don't need to do that one anymore, but what we can do is we still can craft early weapons to help us get to 18 as fast as possible. So two-handed axes at level 8, so on and so forth. We also still can use an upgrade in the cube. You may as well do this because once you unlock that second node on the altar, you'll be able to use it, which will be very powerful. You can buy some vendor gear with your early gold, again helping you get to level 18 faster and easier. And then you've got your 475 blood shards to spend as normal. Take the follower weapon, unlock node 1 in the altar. We obviously need to get that done. Life per second gear from the vendor is going to be handy, helping you get to 18. You can do a boss bounty, Magda or Cool, at the start of the game as usual to try and power up some gear, or you can just simply go for the cube, and that is in Act 3 Ruins of Sescheron. You want to try and mask a bonus as you go and make use of the season theme early on. Train Hadrig and the Mystic, and that will allow you to do some funky stuff with the rest of your challenge rift bag. Upgrading the weapon is still going to be a two-hand scythe for Necro. We get guaranteed multiplier, put it in gold because it's just so important. You can get the Maltorius, which is the Bone Spear. That would be pretty nice because obviously we're going to get the Bone Spear set. You can get Nares for poison skills, Rylenus for double damage. Obviously with all the 70 level stuff, if you are going for that route, then it doesn't massive matter.
What the hell did you just say?
It doesn't massive matter. Doesn't matter massively which one you get, but Blood Tide is still probably going to be the best because the Nova damage is just huge. It scales off the number of enemies that surround you. So obviously if you go and do Massacre bonus leveling, lots of enemies around you, should be a pretty good time. In terms of blood shards, gloves roll for Grasp of Essence to buff up corpse explosion. Anything before level 30 is fine. They're the only gloves in the loot pool until 31, I think. If you spend all your blood shards on it, you've got a 86-87% chance. Pretty good. Offhand wise, at level 35, Iron Rose does come into the pool. If you spend all your shards on that, it would be a 62% chance. Obviously, this is the one that goes with Nova. Gives you a free Nova when you use Siphon Blood. So probably not worth a pickup, but it is there if you want it. Other things to consider, I probably would just straight go for a Leoric's Crown after gloves. So if I hit the Corpse Explosion gloves and I was using my Challenger's bag, I'd then just roll for a helm because Leoric's Crown is going to give you more XP, even more time off that distance to 70. Pox Folds usually help for Massacre bonus leveling, but you probably won't need them because you should just crush T6, but you could get that. And as I say, I'd go for gloves. It says before level 19, but I think it's 30 because we do not have any of the gloves in the pool, I don't think. Level 70 items. This is the most important thing. Craft as much as you can out your Challenger's bag. You want to look for pieces of main stat and intelligence, also vitality. You probably want to re-roll int or vitality on them and not recrafting. You want to basically get as many 70 items on your character as possible, and then you should smash your way to level 70 whilst crushing Torment 6. Leveling areas, Halls of Agony, Fields of Misery, traditional areas for Massacre bonus leveling, but I think for the last 4 seasons or so, we've all been doing Temple of the Firstborn in Act 2, pretty decent. If you get bored, Runes of Sesheron Cursed Chest is an okay one to go for, and Rifts generally. On console this season, yes. PC, it's big no-no, because obviously we're looking to make use of that killstreak extra XP mechanic, and in Rifts on PC you don't get that, but you do get it on console. Basically the tip is going to be get to level 18 as soon as possible so you can unlock that second node of the altar. That applies whether you're using the Challenger's bag or not. Combine your diamonds to make the flawless, obviously pretty important as well. Red gem in your helm for even more XP. Red gem in the weapon for damage is less important now because if you've got a level 70 weapon, adding a little bit of damage with a red gem is not going to help you out that much. It's still going to be useful, but not as important as in previous seasons. And then we've got buy rings and amulets with plus damage. You may as well wait till 61 for this step because you'll fly to 60 with all of your unlocked stuff. If you're not using a Challenger's bag, then obviously you'll have to go and do this at an earlier stage. Cursed chest tips. I normally explore the full zone looking for resplendent chests. This is probably, again, not really very needed this season because if you're using the CR bag, you'll have 70 items, level 70 items. If you're not doing that, you will want to pick up the resplendent chests for the gear drops. DOS and range skills generally make Massacre bonusing level easier, so do AoE skills, Nova, Corpse Explosion, stuff like that. In terms of the skills, Corpse Explosion is still king, it's still the best skill the Necro has. Nova with the Blood Tide is of course god tier though, and you can use Golem to generate corpses, which will tie into Corpse Explosion. Pop the Golem down, blow up the corpses, and it's happy days. If you are on Nares, just be mindful you need to do poison skills to maximize your damage. Again, you know, just got to look out for them. So this is the list of all of the skills and stuff that I'm taking. Generally, I've left the weapons in here. Again, everything up to 18. This is like your jump off point here for next season. but I've put in craft level 70 items. That's what, you know, when you're going to go to do that. The green ones are the poison runes for if you're going for a Nares build. You might want to stick your Nares in a cube and use the green items to build up your poison damage. Obviously, if you're going to hang on to your two-handed legendary scythe, then you're going to only be able to use it at 18 once you've got your diamond and you've unlocked the second node in the altar. And then again, we've got here, I've highlighted weapons that you can craft. So again, even if you're not using the challenge rift bag, you will be really starved for materials, but you might want to dip in here and craft one of these weapons. Again, poison skills in green. Iron Rose in the loot pool, just in case you want it. Again, Nova, Necro, which is what this pairs with, is powerful, but it's not the starting set, so we don't need to worry too much about it. Right, so when you do get to 70, we're going to get Bone Spear. This is an S tier build. The 2-piece sucks. Simulacrums no longer take damage, gain all runes, and its cooldown is refreshed when you die. Pretty rubbish, dying always feels bad. 4-piece is terrible. You basically get damage reduction, but when your simulacrums are active, early on they have a huge cooldown, so unless you're dying, it's not going to be there very often. These two things are rubbish. 6-piece, you get a 9k mod on Bone Spear, which is okay. When you get the amulet, then the simulacrums deal triple damage. The Haunted Visions makes your simulacrum last forever, which is why it is so completely S tier, because you then have extra bone spears coming from your simulacrums and they get this damage modifier tripled, so pretty big deal. When you do get to 70, you can do a Sage's set. You can craft it, stick it on your character. It's a bit of a stats boost, extra DBs, and you can chuck it to your follower when you're done with it. You want to complete your season journey ASAP to get these bone spear pieces. You also want to work on your altar progression, so going through the list and collecting up all the materials for that. You can, as always, make a level 1 Necro and roll for some items, because level 1 Necros have got a much reduced loot pool. In terms of upgrades, so what we're looking to put in the cube to upgrade to build out Bone Spear, well, modifiers are obviously the most important thing. Scythe of the Cycle is the big one, 400% modifier on Bone Spear. A trag'oul's Corroded Fang early on is okay, you just need to make sure you're getting your curse off. And then two-handed Scythe, you obviously want the Maltorius. Increases the Bone Spear cost, I think, but also a pretty big modifier on it. To get simulacrums back, some cooldown reduction can be very handy. So a Messerschmitt's Reaver, two-handed axe, which will knock a second off skill cooldown when you do a kill, can help you out with simulacrum. Ingium takes 10 seconds off everything when you kill an elite. Neither of them are ideal, but they are the best that you have access to, and the other option is to roll some cooldown on all of your gear to try and bring this simulacrum cooldown nearer to as small as it can possibly be. But ultimately, you want the Haunted Visions, so really, that's an area to focus on. It's an amulet. Upgrading it will take some time to get one to pop out, but it is probably worthwhile picking up as soon as you can. And then, if let's say you end up with your Haunted Visions and you don't have the braces for Bone Spear, the Marrow Guards, then by all means, you can go for upgrades on those. Other than that, rings and amulets are generally just useful, so Crispin Sentence, more damage, Convention of Elements, more damage, Stone of Jordan, more damage, and obviously we're looking for these puzzle rings to unlock the altar for the Ancient Puzzle Ring at some point. Flavour of Time is always nice to pick up and give to your follower because it will make your pylons last longer. This now won't work with the potion, so when you get a power potion, it won't double the duration. As for spending blood shards at 70, braces is obviously the easiest modifier to get because it's quite cheap on the blood shards, only 25 per rule. So the Marrow Guards is what you want to pick up. Getting a legendary offhand is going to be handy. It does have a damage roll on it. Lost Time is where you want to go ultimately for your speed build because it'll give move speed on cold skills. But other than that, maybe some toughness might not be a bad idea. So a belt for a Dainty's Binding, 50% damage reduction when you curse enemies, or a gold wrap if you can get a Boon of the Hoarder for some toughness in the torment farming. And then any of those other rings that we covered will also be nice. Again, with the double legendary unlock for Kadala, it now becomes not a terrible idea to roll amulets because you're going to get twice as many as normal. So again, just pop that Haunted Visions out as soon as you can. In terms of a bit of a shopping list, Crimson's and Guardian's plans are always handy. Guardian's is just tremendous for the Necro because it's a little bit squishy early on. So getting that double main stat and extra vitality is very, very useful. You want a Rogue from bounties, not just for your altar unlocking, but you also want to make sure that you are getting a Rogue for your build. Legendary gems you need, gold wrap you need, maybe some trag'oul pieces if you're wanting to do some higher speeds and push. You might want to be looking to put Lord Mages for T16. And of course, obviously, as we showed earlier, the altar has got a big list of everything that you need to get it unlocked as well. And the planner in the description you can have a play with. But this is kind of where we'll probably be if we use the Challenge Rift bag. We're going to have all of these things unlocked here on the right, including the potions. This is the cost of them. It's not going to be too bad to get most of these things done. There's nothing really too tricky here. It actually gets a bit trickier once we get further down here. So the 4 tome set dungeon pages shouldn't be a problem now. Ancient Hellfire, if we can't upgrade this to Primal, that could take a bit of time. Ancient Puzzle Ring, again, same. If we can't put it into make it Primal and stick it in to the altar, maybe that would take a bit of time. Staff of Herding is going to be the annoying one at the end because there's specific things that we need to get for that. I will link a guide on how to do that in the description if you don't know. And then 1600 blood shards, that's going to basically be GR 110. Can clear that no problem on Necro, either on GR Nova or on the Bone Spear. Absolutely fine. So this is where we're likely to be if we use the Challenge Rift bag. A lot of power and a lot of nice quality of life stuff that we'll have. We can finish the rest of it later. Bone Spear T16. I will just put these little quick screenshots up here. The YouTube video guide on this will be linked. Later game, I go for the trag'oul's Fang. So early on, you're probably going to want to use the Scythe of the Cycle, which is down here. This is what would be in the cube. You know, Maltorius, Marigards. Move speed here with the braces. They're the skills. Again, as I say, the video is linked. But then the GR speed is going to be kind of like this. So the Guardians is really nice early on. Adds an awful lot. You know, Crispin, the COE, Scythe of the Cycle, Lost Time, Stuart's Greaves, all those types of things can be very, very nice. Skills and passives here as well, just in case you need them and max roll is down or D3 plan is down or whatever. Right, so that is it. In the description, we'll do the T16 video, the GR 110 Bone Spear speed video, and the Nova GR 120 speed video. A lot of options for Necro next season. It's going to be a pretty fast start. The only thing you've really got to worry about is getting that Haunted Visions. And honestly, once you get Bone Spear with that, it will just be a case of putting the hours in and ticking off all those things on the altar that need to be done. You know, all these things here. Bone Spear can do all of them. It's absolutely, you know, no brain power required. Once you've got it, it's going to be pretty easy, I think. Particularly if you're doing the GR build with the generator. The only thing Bone Spear is you can run out of essence, so taking a generator is a decent idea, and you don't really need the curse here. It's only if you're going for the trag'oul's Corroded Fang. So this kind of build here will get you full altar unlock fairly fast, and you'll be getting a lot of XP. Right, so that is the video. Any feedback is welcome. I hope you enjoyed it. What future videos do you want? I'm going to do Wizard like this. I'm going to do Demon Hunter like this. I'm probably not going to get a chance to do a 4th or 5th starter guide because, as I say, these videos do take several hours to put together. Like, subscribe, and any super thanks, any donations, tips, helps keep the dream alive. So thank you to anybody who does partake in that. I've been the Filthy Casual. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you found it useful. I'll see you again real soon. Take it easy. Peace.